We're going to come back because right now we're behind the scenes for folks on the internet. We're going to be back in about a minute and a half to the full audience, Willie, and I want to get back into what's happening with Iran and Iraq and get your take on that. But shifting gears into the economy, you know, you've involved with farm aid and so much more, aware of how this international banks, central banks operate. We've got the IMF and World Bank documents where they admit they are engineering the implosion in our economy so they can consolidate wealth and basically repossess America, come in and buy all of our companies, Anheuser-Busch, real estate, car companies. Willie Nelson, what's your take on that? What's happening right now with the economy?
Well, I can see where they've done it with the farmers. We used to have 8 million small family farmers out there, and through various techniques, illegal and whatever, they have taken back over 6 million of those small family farms, and they've done it by doing exactly what you said. They dropped the prices on everything, putting farmers out of business all over the world, just so they can pick up the land and use it to their advantage. The big corporations want to do it all. They want to put all the small family farmers out of business. And I still think that this whole thing, our entire economy, that agriculture is the bottom rung on our economic ladder, and the farmer is our backbone of that economic ladder. So we have to bring the farmer back, the small family farmer. We have to start thinking locally, sustainable agriculture, take away our needs for importing, like T-Bone Pickens said, $700 billion worth of oil every year from foreign countries. We could be making it ourselves out of wind, solar, biodiesel, ethanol. We can do it all in 20, 30 years. We can take ourselves off of oil completely. In the meantime, we can drop our dependency just by changing over, doing this and doing that.
Okay, Willie, I hate to interrupt you when you're on a roll. We're coming back to the main audience. Before you leave, let's get back into that, okay? Here we go.
And when the war is over and we've won it, let's remember how we done it so we don't have to do it again. There is a peaceful solution.
You know, I love rodeos, and I go to 4 or 5 a year. And it's great to go to a rodeo where Willie Nelson's playing, because instead of having a bunch of pro-war propaganda wrapped in the flag, you get a real patriot, a real Texan who really loves liberty. And to see tens of thousands of people at the Austin Rodeo, Star of Texas Rodeo, singing along to that, instead of going to, say, the Teague Rodeo with my family, where my family's from out in East Texas. And I mean, we're talking 20 minutes of government-worshiping, war-worshiping stuff. But it was totally hollow, and nobody was even buying into it there. And we're back live with Willie Nelson. Take your calls in the next segment. And also, later before he leaves us, get some into his solutions with agriculture and trying to save the family farm, because his farm aid this year is coming up as well, and give out some of his websites for you. Again, Willie, it's just wonderful and precious to be having this time with you. Jesse Ventura, since you last came on the show and went public for 9/11 Truth, Jesse Ventura came on the show and then told me behind the scenes, he goes, look, I want to come out for 9/11 Truth. You gave me films years ago when I was in Texas visiting with Willie Nelson and Kinky Friedman. When I saw him at an event, he said, but now I've looked into it. It's an inside job. He went public, and even Fox News had trouble attacking him. Now we've had the former Italian president, who was also the head of intelligence, go public, German defense ministers, leaders in the Japanese Diet, their parliament. We've had Actress of the Year go public. I mean, it is just a mass of prominent people, CIA section chiefs going public. What is it like to see this type of courage, Willie?
Well, it's great. And, you know, we do know that there are some strong people in this country and around the world who will stand up for what's right. And it's always gratifying to see a guy jump up and say what he thinks and stand up for what he believes is right. And I can see more and more people doing that these days, and it is very gratifying.
I don't think that the ring knockers, the establishment individuals, thought that we would have this much courage, or that this many prominent people like Willie Nelson and Jesse Ventura and so many others, Martin Sheen, right before he died, George Carlin. I'm going to send you my new film. Have you seen George Carlin talk about 9/11 being an inside job?
No, I haven't, but I would love to see that.
It's just incredible, Willie. I mean, I know I'm kind of in awe here. It's just we have to realize how positive it is that there are a lot of good Americans and others standing up.
Well, yeah, and it's when you look at it for what it is, it's no big deal. It's somebody did something wrong, and somebody needs to be outed for it. And once you look at all the facts and see the pictures and hear all the stories, it doesn't take a German scientist to realize that, hey, we got hit, by some inside people there. We need to find out who it is, and we need to find out quickly so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. It's so horrible, but it's so obvious, it's so simple, and you're saying the emperor has no clothes, and more people are saying it. Willie, what has the response been like since you came on my radio show twice, and then on, of course, Free Speech TV and Democracy Now, and, question the official fable? What has the response been like from your fans, from your supporters, and your detractors?
99% in favor of what we've been saying, and 100% of ours believing that we have the right to say it. There's nobody that said, "Hey, shut up." There's been a couple. There's been a couple that didn't quite believe it and couldn't believe that we could do something like that. But I think the more we find out about what we are capable of doing and what we have done in the last couple of 100 years, it's no stretch of the imagination to see that, hey, we did this, we did that. Of course we can do the trade towers. It's no big deal.
Well, you're right. In fact, if you look at the British manuals on how to spread smallpox to the natives by giving them, that's not a rumor, folks. We have the manuals that then was taught to the colonists who did it. Or then when you look at the Tuskegee experiment, or all the things that are still going on, or all these neocon warmongers who say use DU in Serbia and Iraq and Afghanistan, and now our troops are coming home with triple the birth defects in their children. I mean, so many of these individuals think they can do all of this in a vacuum, and you can't do this in a vacuum, can you, Willie?
Well, no, you can't. Eventually the truth will come out, but in the meantime, a lot of people are dying and suffering, and that's why I think it's so urgent that Dennis Kucinich keeps doing what he's doing. Keep hitting them on that sore spot. It's like a drop of water on the dam. If he keeps dropping water on that sucker, eventually it'll crash through, and we'll find out the truth of what really happened. But I think Dennis has got to keep pounding on impeachment. I think that's the key to stopping anything really horrible coming up between now and, as you say, September, October.
Absolutely. Just a moment ago, we went, Willie, this is kind of a split show now, because I'm also got hundreds of thousands viewing on the internet and tens of thousands watching on television. I just skip breaks with huge guests like yourself, so we've got one more break coming up, but we're skipping them. Is that okay with you?
Oh, sure, whatever.
Absolutely. Well, you're just awesome. We're going to be taking calls when we get back into the main segment at 1-800-259-9231. Again, Willie, getting back to the fact that the people are rising up, that has now cornered the rats that staged the attacks, and I'm trying to figure out their psychology and what they're going to do. And most of the experts I talked to, Ron Paul, Ray McGovern, so many other people, Dennis Kucinich, people inside, Ron Paul said last week before the House, he said, look, the shoe's going to be dropped in the fall. They're intending to go ahead and start World War III, and I guess try to bring us into martial law. And we're here, I guess, just with genuine communal horror, wanting to stop it. Do you have any ideas how to stop it? I mean, you're here on air speaking out. You're prominent. I guess we need to ask everybody who's prominent and has large followings to speak up. I mean, what are some of the other ideas you have, Willie, to try to turn this around right now?
Well, the only thing we can do is just to keep our words and thoughts out there in the atmosphere, and let people around the world know what we're thinking, and let's be open-minded to what they're thinking, and let's put our heads together and come up with ways to stop it, because we are smart enough to do it. We can figure, we do know. We're standing here today telling everyone what we think is going to happen. Now, how do we stop it? I think we keep talking about it. I think we do the impeachment. I think we elect a guy who is thinking about peace rather than war. we have to become a department of peace, and we have to spread peace around the world instead of going around the world starting wars over oil. We don't have to do that anymore.
Well, you're absolutely right, Willie, and it's not just starting wars about oil. It's also about, as you know, the hundreds of billions of dollars per year in no-bid contracts going into black holes, and it's the silencing political opposition at home. And that's what Dennis Kucinich lists in his articles of impeachment, how the president, they have policy reports saying, how do we shut down demonstrations? How do we shut down free speech? How do we train local police to shut down free speech? So I want to come back to the full audience in about 10 seconds and pose that question to you, and then to the audience, what their ideas of stopping all of this. Here we go with Willie Nelson. Back to the full radio audience.